I've been married to my wife for 2 years now, and in the 7 years since we first met, life has felt perfect for me. When we first met, it was love at first sight, and as time went on, my love for her only grew deeper. Even my friends joked about how much I'd changed since meeting her. I used to be a rather cold, introverted, and tough person, shaped by my time in the army and my upbringing. I never showed weakness to anyone, not even to her. But for these 7 years, life has been incredible. I have a well-paid job, financial stability, and am deeply in love with the woman of my dreams. I've even thought ahead and created a trust, putting all my assets in the hands of my best friend and my sister, appointing them as executors. This decision was influenced by a close friend who went through a divorce and had to split all his assets with his ex-wife, even though she hadn't contributed financially. So, I took this measure as a precaution against any eventuality, even though the idea of separating seemed unlikely. Before our wedding, we both agreed to sign a prenuptial agreement with a sole condition. If one of us cheated, the guilty party would not be entitled to sole occupancy rights. In my country, this is a legally binding agreement. When she made this suggestion, I was surprised. I never thought she would betray me, but I accepted her request without hesitation. The first year of marriage was perfect. We were healthy, and thanks to my stable job, we rented a spacious and beautiful house. We enjoyed life, traveled to incredible places, and met new people. However, things changed in the second year. I began working tirelessly to secure an important client for my company. I admit, this job consumed all my energy. I explained the situation to her, and she understood, knowing that work was our main source of income. She had no intention of working and preferred to be a full-time wife, even if that role was demanding. Despite my workload, I did my best to ensure she was happy and never felt neglected or lonely. My daily routine included waking up early to go to the gym, making breakfast for her, going to work, coming home to prepare dinner, and then spending quality time with her before relaxing. This continued for 6 months, and eventually we landed the big account. To celebrate, I planned a 2-month holiday to her favorite place, Paris, so we could unwind and relieve the stress. The holiday was wonderful. When we returned home, however, I noticed a change in her. She became distant and cold, often engrossed in her phone rather than chatting with me as she used to. I brought it up several times, but she dismissed my concerns, citing personal problems and stress. I decided to give her space, hoping she'd open up in time. This behavior continued for 6 months. Then one day, I attended an important meeting where the CEO was set to announce a pay raise. I was both nervous and excited, knowing my hard work and dedication had paid off. Indeed, I was awarded a 30% raise for securing that big client. Elated, I decided to take a few days off to celebrate. That evening, I went home, eager to share the good news with my wife. I came home early, excited to surprise my wife. As I parked the car, I heard unmistakable sounds coming from the house. At first, I thought I was imagining things. After all, my wife had told me she was out shopping with a friend. But as I got closer, I recognized her voice. My heart sank. To confirm what I was hearing, I pulled out my phone and started recording. When I opened the door, my worst fears were realized. My wife was cheating on me with a stranger. Her shocked expression when she saw me only deepened the betrayal. I stood there, frozen, as the man scrambled to grab his clothes and ran out of the house half-dressed, panicking. My wife sat motionless, clutching the bedsheet, unable to say a word. I was overwhelmed with anger and heartbreak, but managed to keep my composure. Without saying anything, I went to our bedroom and started packing my things. She followed me, accusing me of cheating and claiming I was imagining everything. Her excuses were absurd and infuriating, but I refused to engage. It took me about 30 minutes to pack, during which she continued her barrage of denials and accusations. Finally, I left, feeling a strange mix of devastation and relief. For a few days, I stayed at a hotel, ignoring her incessant calls and messages. Eventually, I changed my number. Not long after, I contacted a lawyer and explained everything. Thanks to the prenuptial agreement we had signed, I was reassured she wouldn't get more than what was fair. For months, I had no contact with her. During that time, I learned she had found a job and was barely managing to cover the household expenses. When she received the divorce papers, she arrived at the lawyer's office with a smug look, assuming she could live off my money without lifting a finger. My lawyer and I exchanged a knowing glance before placing the prenuptial agreement on the table. Her confidence crumbled as she realized her mistake. In the end, she only received half of what she expected, just enough to cover a few months' rent. She broke down in tears, pleading for forgiveness and insisting it was a mistake, that she still loved me. Her begging went on for 20 minutes before she finally signed the papers. Afterward, she tried to chase me down, repeating her apologies and asking for another chance. But by then, I felt nothing but indifference. Today, I've moved on with my life. I've met someone new, and we've been dating for a few months now. My career is thriving, and I'm genuinely happy again. As for her, she stayed in our old house until her money ran out and eventually moved into a small apartment near her job. She tried reaching out to me again, but I never responded. That chapter of my life is closed, and I feel no anger or sadness anymore, only peace.